fun, man. I cannot wait to watch you guys play.
Coming to you from the My Michigan TV studios.
We're going to kick you in the teeth.
It's the Roar Live.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
With hosts, Michigan High School Hall of Fame head coach, Tony Blankenship.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
The outsider, Scotty William, and Corey Tiez.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Roar Live, back after a couple of weeks off. So glad to be with you this week right here on My Michigan TV, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. 52-6 for the Lions today over the Jags. Here's some stats for you. Fourth time in 7 games with 40 or more points scored, and this is the second time this season 50 or more points scored in the last, 3 weeks? 4 weeks?
Has it been 3 weeks?
Something like that.
Yeah.
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 Well, we got a lot in store for you today. The question of the week after this big blowout. Do you think Ben Johnson is going to be on his way out? Do you think he'll find greener pastures as a head coach somewhere?
Well, he's going to be asked. He's going to be. Yeah. People are going to want to interview him.
Well, we want to hear. We want to hear from you tonight. We want to hear your answer to that question.
Yeah.
And of course, we want to go to the first play of the game. Corey picked this play of the game. I thought it was pretty explosive. Another Jahmyr Gibbs running touchdown.
Yeah.
He just looks explosive.
Yeah, he's just special. All right, this was the play that gained me. I just liked how he just made something out of nothing. You run up the gut, you bounce off, and then speed just takes over. The kid is special. This was the play that just, it's still 7-3. This is what we're doing today. We're going to run the ball down your throat. We're going to use the speed. We're going to use the finesse. And we're just going to beat the crap out of you.
Well, you are watching the Roar Live. My name is Scotty William alongside Corey Tiez.
Yep.
And on the Zoom, we will have the head coach, Hall of Fame head coach, Tony Blankenship, calling in from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Las Vegas.
In there with his, on a vacation with his daughter, her 21st birthday.
I think it's 21st.
Shout out to
shout out to Blank. Shout out to the girls. They're all out there.
The girls. And we now have, from what Jared has told us, there he is, the
Blanco.
man, the myth, the legend, Tony Blankenship on the Zoom. Tony, what is your takeaways of this game, my friend?
What you got, Blank? What you got?
Hey guys, great seeing you guys, man.
For sure.
Just to piggyback a little bit off what Corey was saying, that was a special play. I think that was a third down too.
Yeah.
Jacksonville had showed a little bit of fight, and it wasn't a play call. It was just, Jahmyr is just the best football player on the field. And he's able to make a special play when, you don't have to make the call for the play. And that's when you know you got a special player. It doesn't matter what the call is somebody can go out there and make a play and do something special regardless of the call. Making a play when there's no play there at all.
Yep.
Tony, we haven't been on the air in a couple of weeks.
Right.
What is your position on how they've played over the past few weeks? We got Green Bay. They beat Green Bay. They came back in that Texans game last week in exciting fashion. Is your viewpoint? Do you think this is a Super Bowl team over the past few weeks and the amount of points that they're scoring?
Hold up, Blank. I love the glasses, Blank. Go ahead. You can answer. I like the glasses, Blank.
Thanks,
I'm
brother.
loving the glasses, the new specs.
So look.
Go ahead, Blank.
So look, you know what, Scott? To answer your question, they have played well in the last couple weeks. I think the Green Bay game is a little bit something we still need to have to look at it from the perspective that Jordan Love wasn't healthy. He's playing on one leg. And that's a part of the game. That comes with it. Yet Detroit took care of business, and they were successful. The Houston game, you had some things going on in that game where Detroit didn't play well most of the game, and then made some plays in the second half. Defensively, they played really well in the second half. And they were able to, control the football game and get the win at the end. If I'm, looking at Houston and that head coach and what they were doing. I don't know what was going on. And you trying to kick field goals. You can't coach not to lose. And I just think that Houston was coaching not to lose. And Detroit doesn't do that. Campbell doesn't do that. He coaches to win at all times. And everything he's trying to do, he's trying to, get wins. So even to the fault, of his coaching decisions, it doesn't matter. So I can't be critical, of him, but I definitely could be critical of the Houston staff and what they were doing, because there's no way that Detroit should have won that football game. Yet they found a way to do it, and that's what Super Bowl caliber teams are able to do. And the Lions are definitely in that on that level now. They're in that room of teams that can win a Super Bowl this year.
Do you think they've learned from their mistakes of last year, Tony? The championship game where they kind of let down, and we all know the outcome of that game in the second half. San Francisco obviously beat them. Do you see a team this year that is improving each week, and do you see a team that's learned from maybe some mistakes that they've made in previous seasons?
Yes, a great point for you, Scott. Yes, so. Guys, there's two things you can't ever substitute when you're having success. And one is speed and the other is experience. So when you have speed and you have experience, you have a problem. And Detroit has both. They have guys that can really run the football with speed and Jahmyr Gibbs. They got J-Mo. And then they got a group of guys who've actually suffered, some big games and losing some big games. And they're able to come from those situations and learn from them and grow from them, and you can see it. They're an elite organization when it comes to their football team right now and what they're able to do. They are arguably the best football team in the NFL right now, and it's only because they've never been able to get over the top completely is the argument, because until they're able to do it, there's going to be a debate.
Anybody besides J-Mo that you've seen, Jahmyr Gibbs this week that impressed you, maybe defensively? How did Zadarius Smith look to you this week?
Solid. He's a consummate professional. He's been doing it for a long time, man. And no, he's not going to be, the guy he was 10 years ago. But he's crafty. He's done it. He's been around it. He understands it. And the thing that I've paid attention to, like I know you guys have, is he's played in that division for most of his career. So he won't see anything that's new. And he'll get a chance to help those younger guys have a mind in preparation for those conference games that are going to come up. He'll help them in that way, because he'll get them in the mindset that, look, I don't care what that team, has done before. When it's a conference game, when it's a division game, it's different. And as you can see today, even with the Bears, you would think the Bears were dead, and now all of a sudden they're not. So that's something that I think, he'll be able to help the Lions with.
Lions, as you know, won in blowout fashion today. What do you tell a team going into next week? You got the Colts. You're actually going into Indianapolis, and then right after that, you got the Bears 3 or 4 days later. What do you say to your team when you're putting up the numbers that you're putting up, and to keep the momentum going in the right direction?
You got to stay the course, and you listen. One thing that much love to Gary Moeller, who's our head coach at Michigan. He told us something years ago, and I'll never forgot this. When people start telling you how great you are, you hit them in the mouth. Don't get to listening to these people telling you how great you are, because we can go all the way back to the New England Patriots, who went 19-0 and couldn't finish the deal. So Lions fans, people who are, supportive of and happy about what's going on, at the end of the day, the job has to be done, and it's not done. You should take care of a team like the Colts. They're not a very good football team. They have a lot of struggles as well. They're one of the few teams, I think, that Jacksonville beat this season. They only won 2 games. I think they beat the Colts, if I'm not mistaken. So. Yeah. So in situations like that, continue doing what you're doing. Continue just being dominant. But at the same time, understand that, it's not finished. And you got to continue to grow and get better. make sure you can stay healthy throughout the process of it all, and be prepared to, for dogfights in the playoffs. Because look, again, I can use all kind of examples. I use Golden State even. Everybody can talk about how great you are. Everybody can talk about how amazing you are. At the end of the day, you got to get it done.
Tony, I know we like to talk about other teams in the North. Is there any other teams that are standing out to you? I mean, I've been kind of down on the Bears. They really haven't played well. Do you think that's a testament to that offensive line, or is it just bad play calling and putting Caleb Williams in bad positions? What do you think?
Man, that's coaching. That's just coaching. It's disappointing too, because even today, I was watching the games today, and I know you guys are watching it too. These guys make a lot of money, man, coaching wise and player wise. Go out there and get 50 put on them every week. Look, they're stealing. I'm like, God, how do you just keep going out here and get 50 put on you? Like, you're an NFL football player. You have some pride. Have some about yourself. Even as a coaches, that's unacceptable on all levels. You are out here and you're professional athletes, and you're getting 50 put on you as though it's a high school game. And I get the Lions are really, really good. I'm not debating that. That is not to be debated. It has nothing to do with your effort. It has nothing to do with your commitment and your hard work and what you do to try to make the game a better game, at least so we can watch it and enjoy it. But, yeah, I think that the league itself is kind of struggling. A lot of teams with 4 wins, a lot of teams with 3 wins. It's kind of lopsided. We kind of thought there was some parity. There's no parity except at the top.
No.
Tony, I was watching a sports show, and I'll leave it nameless for right now. He made a comparison to Caleb Williams of the Bears are doing this again. You had Mitch Trubisky, first-round pick. He kind of went in the toilet, coaching. And then Justin Fields the same way. Do you think this is another? Do you think Caleb Williams can pull out of this? I mean, because it's looking like maybe you might see another coaching change in Chicago if they don't pull it together by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think that could happen. Corey and I both were supportive of Caleb. I can see some things with him. But, guys, we can look at the league and watch these players. We look at Jim Harbaugh. And we look at what he's been able to do with a quarterback that struggled all those years that he was in the league. And then this man comes in, all of a sudden now, Herbert is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and that's coaching. Coaching really does matter. Yeah. And Caleb needs to have the best coaches around him, man. He can play, and he's talented, and he can get it done, but he got to have the right people around him. And shame on these organizations that are not doing it. Shame on them.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Tony, I don't want to keep you too long because I know you're enjoying yourself in sunny Vegas with your daughter's 21st birthday.
Yes, I am. Thank you guys.
Make sure you give her a happy birthday from me and Co.
Absolutely.
I will. Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Listen, I want to leave you with the question, actually the trivia question, the award trivia question of the week. Who has the most interceptions thrown by a Detroit quarterback in a season? Here are your choices. Jeff Comlow, Bobby Lane, John Kitna, Joey Harrington. And notice, Co, Stafford and Goff are not on that answer sheet.
Well, I was going to say they were tied, but go ahead.
So give us, Tony, are you still there? We still have Tony here?
I'm still here.
Who do you think is the most interceptions thrown out of those 4 quarterbacks?
Man,
Congo's going back to 1979. I mean, that's those names are other than Joey Harrington in the mid 2000s. Yeah. Who do you think on that?
I'm gonna go with Joey Harrington.
Okay. Joey Harrington. We'll find out a little bit later on in the show. I'll leave you with this, Tone. The question of the week is, do you think Ben Johnson, with what he's been doing so far this year for the Lions offense, do you think it's possible he may part ways at the end of the year and find himself a head coaching job? What's your thoughts?
You know what, guys? That's a great question. and I'm going to leave you with this.
Okay.
One thing we learned about the NFL is everybody that's a coordinator is not a good head football coach. And it's being exploited at a very high level with these guys that are head coaches now and who've had been in the past.
Yep.
Ben Johnson, as great as he is as a play caller, does not mean he's the leader of men.
Right.
Sure.
It does not mean that he can go and lead an organization and be a face of an organization. He may not even want it.
Right.
That's the thing. He may not even want to be that guy. But everybody doesn't have that DNA. Everybody doesn't have that, that it about them where they can actually lead an organization. Just because they're so good at what they do when it comes to their profession and calling plays does not mean they can go on and be leaders of organizations. So I would, honestly, I don't see him being a head coach. I don't get that from him. When I watch his demeanor, when I watch his mindset, when I watch what he's able to do and how he carries himself on the sideline, I see him doing what he's doing. Now, I say that as well, and I'll end with this. If he can get the right people around him so that he can be the best version of himself and running an offensive program the way he runs it when it comes to an NFL team, because he's great at it, he has to have really, really good people around him too, because I don't see him being a rah-rah guy. I don't see him being a guy that's going to have a situation where he's a leader of men. I don't know he has that kind of mindset and that type of personality.
Why do you, before I let you go, and I'm not trying to keep you, Tone.
No,
why
I'm
do you
good,
think
guys.
guys
I don't
like,
have to go anywhere.
Okay, well, that's good. Why do you think? Why do you think guys like Doug Peterson, who the rumor through the Daily Mail says he's probably going to be done this week? Why do you see guys like this? I know he's got a Super Bowl under his belt, but when you look at his stats or his win-loss, he's not that great. And why does he keep getting jobs like this? Is it a shortage of head coaching talent, or is it just who you know?
No, it's who you know. It's the good old boy network, guys. And people don't want to talk about it. And it's the way of the NFL, the way of professional sports. It ain't what you know, it's who you know and who like you. And, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there are a lot of people, including myself, who could be doing some of these jobs and have opportunities like these jobs that are given. But again, they recycle coaches in the NFL. You guys look at what's going on. It's normally the same dudes being recycled. And our generational guys, Penderson included, we're all in the same age range. These guys should not be head football coaches. There are a lot of really good football coaches out here, man. And they're not getting opportunities because they keep letting the other guys stay in. And continue to, keep things going without any success. They go from job to job and still don't win. Shame on the NFL for that.
Yep.
Tony, is there any other rumors that we thought we heard? Are you really in Vegas candidating for the Las Vegas Raiders job? Is that true?
That is not true. But if they call me, I'm listening, and I'm going to sit down and talk.
We won't go into Michigan football, but I think you should put your hat in the ring on that.
Right.
Hey, he isn't fired yet. We're all right at Michigan.
Tone, thanks for coming on the show with us today, man. We'll see you next week. We hope you have a safe trip back, and make sure you tell your girl happy birthday, 21st. That's a milestone.
Hey,
no doubt.
Hey, happy birthday to my parents, and had a wonderful time with my family, my daughters, Autumn and Madison. Thank you guys, and Ron, Rhonda. Thank you guys for just having me coming in today and getting to see you guys. It's been great. I'll see you next week, man.
All right, sounds good, Tony. Thanks for
safe travel.
Safe travel.
Okay.
You are watching the Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. That is the call-in QR code to get in on the conversation. Lions 52-6. I'm losing track of all the scoring, but let's go into the scoring now. Jared and David, take it away. David Montgomery started things off for the Detroit Lions today. How about this 2-yard run? Jake Bates hits the extra point, put him up early, 7-3. Jahmyr Gibbs, of our player of the game, he would take that. Jake Bates again, extra point, 14-3.
Perfect all year.
David Montgomery again, 6-yard run. Jake Bates hits the extra point, 21-3 early, and it didn't stop there. St. Brown would catch a 21-yard touchdown catch. Jake Bates would hit the extra point, 28-3. To end the half, the Jags' Cam Little hit a 35-yard field goal. And let me just tell you something. Here's the halftime stats for the Lions right now. 306 total yards for Detroit to the Jaguars' 104. Yeah. They had 205 in the air, 101 on the ground, 18 first downs, 9 yards per play. They had no punts, one penalty for 15 yards. They held the ball for 16 minutes and 28 seconds. The defense was solid, 81 yards. They held them to the Jags to 81 yards in the air, 23 yards on the ground. These numbers here are full game numbers for some games in the NFL this year.
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
It's impressive. It's impressive, but to me, it's one of those things where I don't even know what Jacksonville. What is that?
They just look like they didn't want to be here.
What is that? That's
Doug Peterson does need to get fired.
Well, hey,
not to say who are you going to throw in there?
Well, I mean, come on.
That's an abysmal franchise.
Yeah, to piggyback off what Blank was saying, this is the effort. They didn't even show up, and you have the backup Mac Jones. Mac Jones is. This was just I don't know. Like Blank said, the football that's being played now, everybody's losing. Yeah. One thing that I can count on is the Lions are going to put up numbers, and they're going to bully bad teams. I can count on that, and I can count on Kansas City. Everybody else is a mystery. And even with the Lions, they've beaten one good team. To me, you're supposed to beat Jacksonville today the way you did.
Right.
And that's what they do. They are consistent with beating bad teams. I don't know of a good team that they beat. I would say Minnesota with an average quarterback. Everybody else are terrible. This is bad football, what we're watching here. Across the board. Just across the board. You never know what you're going to get. Look at Baltimore.
Yeah.
Cincinnati. Some of the elite teams, the AFC was supposed to be all this and all that. All I see is the NFC North. That's all I see. I don't know. It's crazy.
Going into the second half of highlights for the Detroit Lions scoring, it'll go to number 8 with Jameson Williams. He grabs this 64-yard pass from Jared Goff to begin the half. Unbelievable. Yeah. Jake Bates would then hit the extra point, 35-6, but it didn't stop there.
Didn't stop.
Brock Wright, who was in for the injured Sam Laporta, would catch a touchdown pass from Jared Goff. Jake Bates with the extra point, 41-6. And then that would lead us into the defensive play of the game. The defensive play of the game would be this one right here. Kirby Joseph comes up with the interception. Him and Brian Branch have really been outstanding.
Yeah, they play some
in
good
the secondary. Yeah. This is and we talked about it earlier in the season. You said that the Lions really needed to show improvement in the secondary.
Yes,
and they did.
Yeah,
they really, really did.
The two safeties are playing very well, and it does help when Mac Jones throws into coverage with 9 people in front of him. So, but you play what's in front of you. You do what's in front of you. The ball was there. Joseph picked it off like he's been doing. I think he's got 7 interceptions this year. So those safeties are playing really good football.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, shout out to that secondary, improving. Now, the corners, like I said, but those safeties are really big.
Robertson played well.
He did, yeah. Yep. The safeties you cannot
and they're not making – you're seeing them not make the mistakes that they were making earlier in the season with
cleaner.
The holding.
Yeah.
Either that or he's kind of getting away with it a little more.
A lot cleaner. The calls haven't been there, but a lot cleaner. Hats off to him.
Taking a look around the NFC North here over the past few weeks, The Bears lost to the Cardinals 29-9. They also lost to the Patriots 19-7, and they lost again today to the Packers. We talked about it a little bit with Tony.
Yep.
The Vikings keep
game.
holding on.
Good game.
They beat the Colts a couple of weeks ago 29-9, and then beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 12-7. And they play the Titans this week. I believe they won that game. I think that is a final 23-13. And I'll tell you what, these other than the Vikings are keeping pace, the Packers are keeping pace with the Lions. The North is the best division in the NFC, without a doubt.
Without a question, without doubt. And even with the Bears with their record, they're still going to play you tough.
Right.
Those are interconference rivals. They're always tough. Even when the Lions are up or the Minnesota's up and the Bears are, that NFC North, those rivalries are really hard to come by. Those wins are really hard to come by. So we'll see. But this is an exciting division here, and it's getting better because Minnesota is holding ground. The Lions aren't losing, and they're going to lose next week. It's another scrimmage. This is a scrimmage today. Jacksonville should be ashamed. So they'll go in and beat the Colts too. I think it starts when they play each other more.
Right.
You know what I mean? When they see each other more. So we'll see how it goes.
You are watching the Roar Live right here on YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. You can also watch us right on the My Michigan TV app.
Yep.
You can go to mymichigantv.com. That right there is the QR call-in. All you got to do, use your phone, scan that. You can get in on the conversation like our buddy from East Vale, California.
Joey.
There he is, JoJo.
Joey.
How are you, buddy?
What's going on, Joe?
I'm doing great, Scott. How are you doing, man?
We're doing good. We're doing good. A Lions big victory today. What are your thoughts, Joe?
Big comeback for Jared Goff. I think was one of the keys that we need to take moving forward.
Yeah, I was going to get to that.
I think we lost you a little bit.
We got Joe?
You got me there?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Now we can hear you.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
Joe,
yeah,
let me give you the Roar trivia question of the week.
All right.
Who holds the most interceptions thrown by a Detroit Lion quarterback in a season? Is it A, Jeff Comlow, B, Bobby Lane, C, John Kitna, or is it D, Joey Harrington? And I did tell Corey earlier, Stafford and Gall, neither one of those two are on that list. Yep. Who do you think it could be, Joe?
You know what, Scott? You had me stumped on that one. I had to look it up, so I'm sorry. And if you don't want me to be a spoiler, I won't say. But I was going to say Scott Mitchell because that's one of the most hated quarterbacks for me.
That's a good pick. As much as he threw in the run and shoot, you would think that he might have been up there.
Yeah, he threw the ball all over the place and just was intercepted time after time. I hated that guy. So, do you want me to be a spoiler, or maybe I'll just hold on?
Nope, don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
Okay, I won't spoil it.
I'm glad.
But
that was a
good
good
surprise.
What's that?
It was a surprise to me. I had no idea.
Well, I bet you thought more recent quarterbacks would have been on that list.
I was going to pick Goff and Stafford tied.
Well, actually, Joe, you know what? Give me your pick. I want to hear it.
You know what? I was probably going to go with, like I said, Scott Mitchell was going to be my pick, but he wasn't one of your four. What were the last two of your four? Because it wasn't
the last two of the four were John Kitna and Joey Harrington.
I would have gone with Harrington because he played the longest out of any of those guys, with the exception of Lane. But I would have gone with Harrington.
Okay, well, do you see? Is there a certain play that stuck out to you this week, Joe, for the Lions?
not any one particular play. I thought it was really important for Goff to come back and have a solid game. To me, it looked last week. It looked like he had an injury to his hand or something. It seemed like a bunch of the balls were coming out of his hand like injured ducks, and it just they were getting tipped at the line or whatever. And he just looked scared. And it was one of the things that I didn't like about Goff when he was in L.A. Is he seemed to not be able to come back after a bad game, and it led to people thinking he was soft. And I think since he's come to Detroit, he's really turned that whole concept around for the perception that people have of him, because I think he's toughened up a lot, and he showed it today. I mean, he freaking came out and he threw the ball with conviction, and he made good reads and threw the ball around all over the place. I thought Amon-Ra's was that guy is just amazing to me, because he is able to get space and get free from his defenders and find a way to have Goff give him a ball in a position where he can be the only guy that catches it. Jameson Williams had a couple actually really big catches that got them moving down the field, which was nice. Nice to see him get involved. And Jahmyr Gibbs was, outstanding. And, what can you say about the tandem of Gibbs and Montgomery? Those two are just freaking beasts, running the ball up the middle. So, but I would say the biggest takeaway, my player of the game, is right here, Jared Goff today. Jared Goff had to come back and have a good game, and he did just that. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but today's game, the Lions set a record for the most yards gained from scrimmage in the history of the Detroit Lions football club. So
that's a long history.
Yeah.
That is a long history. That's exactly right. So I was glad to see that.
Before I let you go, Joe, the question of the week is, with the Lions putting up so many points, the offense looks good. Do you think Ben Johnson could maybe find his way out the door to greener pastures, maybe as a head coach? Some people might think of it as greener pastures. I think he needs to stay put. Like Tony said earlier, not everybody's chalked up to be a head coach. What are your thoughts? You think he could be looking for something after the season?
That's a good question, Scott. First of all, I want to say, nice hat, Corey. I like that.
Yeah, it was a gift.
You do notice that he's wearing a Lions hat.
You seem like you're wearing it proudly, though, Corey.
Yeah.
It was a gift, so I didn't purchase it, but it was a gift. So.
But you're sporting it proudly, and that's a good sign for you.
He tried to go cowboy color here, but it didn't work.
No. We need to get off of that train, man. Jump right off. It's a sinking ship, Corey.
Oh yeah.
Be careful with that
don't
one.
I know it?
I hope you have your life preserver with you.
Yeah.
So as far as
any other go ahead. Did he answer the question? I didn't hear him.
No, I didn't even answer the question.
Go ahead, Joe.
You were just shocked that he had a Lions hat on.
But as far as your question is concerned, yeah, I think Brad is able to, given the interest that he had at the end of last season, if they go on to win the Super Bowl, or even, get into the playoffs and have a good playoff run, and even if they don't, what the offense has showed this year so far in 10 games, is that he's an elite coordinator at the very least. So those guys like that get interest 1 year, he's certainly, and has a comeback year, a second year in a row, putting up numbers, having his offense putting up numbers like they are. There's no question he's going to get offers. The question is does he want to stay within a winning program and win as much as he can? And that'll probably be determined whether or not the Lions actually do win the big game this year. So if they won the big game, I could see him staying. If they don't win, I could see it's very possible he might take his chances and go to be a head coach. I was listening to Tony's comments, and Tony made some good points. Some guys don't really seem to be that kind of a guy. And I think that's one of the things about Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell may not be the tactician that some guys are. That Holmes is. And but what Dan Campbell brings is a culture. He brings a culture of belief, a culture of family, a culture of hard work, a culture of being hard nosed. And that's what people of Detroit love. I mean, we're hardworking folks, and we want to see a team that goes out there and freaking buckles up their chin strap and plays smash mouth football. And when you have talent, such as the Amon Ra's, such as the Goffs, and the Jahmyr Gibbs guys, when that talent rises to their expectations, that's just icing on the cake. And so it's nice to see the Lions actually put everything together, and make a run through the first 10 games of the year. Like I always say, it's all about who's going to be on the field at the end of the season. And we got another ding, with Anzalone going down. It'd be interesting to see how long he's going to be out. But I would imagine he's going to be out for at least a few games. We have to see how serious his injury is. But it was nice to see Malcolm Rodriguez come back, get in the game, and make a few plays. So, and we're solid. And Brian Branch was the defensive star, but hands down today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, good game for the Lions. Like Corey said, they're playing a JV team. Seemed like, and the Jaguars, those guys just aren't, they're just not matching up for the NFL. And it's too bad, that they can't, put out a better product. But that's what happens when you have a whole lot of injuries. And if the Lions can avoid those injuries, and that was one thing, a point I wanted to make about St. Brown, is that kid is one of the things I like most about him is his ability to get space from his defender and to not put himself in a position where he's going to get hit. And then when he catches the ball and makes a run, he avoids taking a big hit. So if he can see the defenders coming at him, you watch him. He's going to avoid taking that big hit, which would potentially create an injury for him. So he's I think that puts him up there at the top of the best receivers in the NFL.
Joel, before I let you go, I know you emailed us the other week and said you weren't going to be able to be on the show, which we didn't ever have in the show anyway. Were you able to see the Lions' victory in Napa Valley?
Yes, sir, I was.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, sir, I was. It was on. It was the late game. So it came on pretty much everywhere. Yeah. So luckily, I was able to see it up there. Yeah. And that was, dude, I did not think they were going to win that game. No. Until the fourth quarter. And it was like, holy Jesus, they're coming back.
Joel, thanks for coming on with us again this week. We really appreciate it. Detroit's #1 fan, Eastvale Joey. Yep. I think we need to call him Detroit's #1 fan.
Yeah. Hey, guess what?
What's that?
So I was hanging out with some of my boys the other night, and I don't know, the Lions, they always come up, because they're all from Michigan State, all of us, and they, I told them, hey man, I do this podcast, every week or whatever, and they were interested. What do you mean? Do you have any you have any video excerpts? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll show one. So we pulled one up, and they thought it was just hilarious that I was wearing my chain, and and that you were calling me Eastvale Joey. So they coined a new little nickname for me. It's the same thing, but they're calling me EVJ now.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, you are definitely the Detroit's #1 fan. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
In California, maybe so, right?
That's right.
I like that.
That's right.
That's right.
You gotta love it, Joey. Thanks for coming on, and we'll talk to you next week, buddy.
All right. Thanks for having me again, Scott, and we'll see you soon, buddy.
All right.
Shout out, Joe.
Right.
You are watching the Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. Lions, excuse me. Big win today. But let's take a look at other games around the league.
Okay.
Because we like to delve into the NFL a little bit.
We do.
Eagles, a big win for them, 28-18 over the Commanders. Did you see that game?
I watched it. Yeah. That game was interesting to me. That's the NFC East. I think Philly will come away with that division.
Okay.
I'm not really big on Philly. I'm not a big Hurts guy. But
Is it just, do you think that is because of experience? Jaden Daniels, the rookie?
well, yeah. And he's good. He's a superstar. He's going to be a superstar.
Okay.
But they wanted, everybody wanted to crown them.
Right.
But they hadn't. The teams that they played were 19 and 34. See, that's what I'm saying about the league. Everybody's is such a hot. Who's hot? Consistency. The Lions are even though they're beating bad teams, they're showing consistency. So Daniels was on that train too, but they were beating a lot of bad teams. But I think the NFC East with Hurts and those guys, if they can stay injury free, they will win that division. So yeah.
Other games that have finals. The Dolphins beat the Raiders in Miami 34-19 today.
Who cares?
The Saints beat the Browns 35-14. Another lackluster game.
Who cares?
Here's something that I enjoy.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers loses today. The Colts pulled that out. I know we were looking at that score right before we got on here. 28-27. The Jets are just atrocious. They're atrocious. I mean, here's a guy. You give him the keys to the castle, and he just blows it up.
Well, first of all, he doesn't care. Do people really know? And do you follow? I follow Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't care. He does not care. Everything is about Aaron Rodgers, and I feel bad for that defense because that defense is a pretty solid defense. The issues are the offense and Aaron Rodgers' ability to connect with other players. And it starts from the beginning when you miss these camps and mini camps and things like that. That's a lot to do with NFL football. That has a lot to do with it. So it's showing other players and other, superstars that, hey, this guy's not in the trenches with us. So it starts from the beginning. And then it was Saleh. Saleh's defense was only top 6, top 7. It's the offense. And to lose and to just be, to have, like you said, the keys to the car and just blow it up and explode it. This is crazy. But, hey, I didn't think he should have left Green Bay. I didn't think he should, or Devontae Adams. They should have stayed there. But that's a whole nother story. But the Jets are a mess. They're worse than Dallas. They're worse than Dallas.
We talked about it a little bit. The Vikings over the Texans today, 23-13. Packers come out by the hair of their chinny chin, not 20-19 in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And here's one. The Rams pull out a win, 28-22 over the Patriots in New England. Rams, I think, I think they're getting healthy at the right time, and I think they're going to make a surge. What do you think?
I'm scared of them if I'm the Lions.
Okay.
I'm a little scared of them if they're healthy. If they're healthy, they got to be healthy. They can't miss any pieces because the Lions have all the bases covered. You know what I mean? If the Lions stay healthy, it's going to be they're going to be a tough out. But the Rams, I think, is the scariest. Not even Frisco. I don't know. The Rams are the threat, the biggest threat to me. As well, I still think Minnesota can make some noise, but Minnesota doesn't have Stafford. That's the difference. That's why the Lions beat Minnesota before. Sam Darnold. He's just a C- or average. But yeah, the Rams are spooky.
The other final today, is it surprising to you? 18-16 Steelers over the Ravens?
We just talked about it. One day the Ravens put up 80. Now they're in a field goal shootout with the Steelers.
What do you think, in your opinion, what do you think the big difference is why you see such good games from them sometimes and then they kind of don't score?
I cannot put my finger on it. I just can't. I don't
Do you
get
think it becomes a John Harbaugh issue coaching-wise, or is this a Lamar Jackson issue? What do you think?
You know what? I think Lamar is one of the most talented kids we'd ever see play the position. I just don't know if, he's always had issues with, accuracy sometimes, his receivers. And one thing about them this year, the defense isn't good. The defense is not great. that was going to be an ugly game no matter what, Steelers and Ravens. That always is. But I just can't put my finger on the Ravens. They're just a question mark to me. I don't get it. I really don't. I still think they'll make the playoffs, but winning the big ticket, I don't see that happening. It's too inconsistent. I don't see it.
Well, you are watching The Roar live right here on My Michigan TV, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. We have a question, and actually not even a question. This is a trivia question. We got a question and a trivia question. The trivia question is this. Who holds the most interceptions thrown by a Detroit Lion in a single season? Is it A, Jeff Comlow, B, Bobby Lane, C, John Kitna, or D, Joey Harrington? And I believe Tony said he thought Joey Harrington, correct?
He did.
And then you said Joey Harrington too? Are you going Joey Harrington?
It's C or D, like the multiple
Okay.
on the test. It's C or D, but I'm going to go with Harrington.
That is the question we're going to put out there. If you would like to get in on the conversation, just scan the QR code that'll be coming up on your screen right there. We want to hear from you. We've heard from Eastfield Joey in Eastville, California. We've heard from our head coach, Tony Blankenship from Las Vegas, Nevada, and we want to hear from you. So get in on the conversation. Do you have a answer to that trivia question? I know the answer, so I'm not going to pick it. Okay. We'll figure out the answer to that right after this. Corey has a Tell It Like It Is. And, of course, everybody loves it when Corey does the Tell It Like It Is. Corey, what is it this week?
Lions fans okay, so enjoy all of this winning. Enjoy the regular season, okay? What I've been watching this football season and what I've learned is that the regular season is seeding, right?
Yes.
The regular season is seeding. I honestly think the Lions can make it to the championship, but they're not going to win it.
Really?
Yeah. I think they can make it to the, like I said, the only threat, the real threat in the NFC, I think, Buccaneers might scrap their way in. I don't know. Atlanta's, no. The Rams, because of the coach and the quarterback. I keep saying this time and time again. Dan Campbell's he's an average coach to me. Jared Goff is an average quarterback to me. I know their offense is Gibbs, those two running backs, and everything underneath. What I'm going to do is take the surface and go underneath the surface. Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions in a game. Was that Monday night or Sunday night? Sunday night.
But they pulled out the win.
I got it. But that's who he is. He's average. There's a reason why LA got rid of him. He will do that, and I don't think you can do that with Mahomes on the other side, because that's who's going to the Super Bowl. The Texans were decimated. They didn't have a team. They're average defensively. They didn't have a team. Texans were supposed to. He could have threw 6. The first play, one of the first plays of the game, it went through. Jared Goff, to me, is an interception from winning the big game. I think he will. I think it'll all blow up in a big game. I think they can get there because now you can't stop them.
Right.
You can't. But, and I'm going to go even further. I'll dig a little bit deeper and I'll get out of here. Great quarterbacks and great coaches win Super Bowls. I'm going to name 7 out of 100 years of Super Bowl that weren't great. Mark Rippon, Hostetler, Brad Johnson, Doug Williams, Joe Namath, Jim Plunkett. Those are Super Bowl winners that are average quarterbacks that had either good defense, not such a great coach. Okay? McCarthy, I'll even throw McCarthy in there. He had Rodgers, though. And they had a great defense in 2010. I just don't see the Lions winning with Jared Goff and Dan Campbell. I'm not going to say Dan Campbell's a bad coach to his face, but I don't think he's a great coach. I just don't think they're ready this year with him making those mistakes. That 5 interceptions in a game.
But everybody, we've talked about this before, Co.
So
Everybody has bad games. He still was a. Now, if he would have had 5 interceptions and that would have been a blowout loss, then I could see you getting on their case.
Okay.
Jared Goff today, 24 of 29, 412 yards, 4 touchdowns.
He'll do that. He'll do that when you got
But he
Montgomery.
really hasn't thrown too many picks this year, other than that one bad game. He's been pretty consistent all year long.
He's always consistent. He's always consistent during the regular season.
So you're saying
I'm saying in big games.
in big games.
Yes. Yes. Stafford had to get over that hump. It's the same thing with Goff. I just don't. They can get there. There's no question about it. They can get there. We're past that. Now, like Blank said before, they're the hunted. There's some big games, some more big games coming up. They're gonna in the back half of the schedule. You got Buffalo, and you got the NFC North.
But don't you think though that the Lions have a team to where he doesn't have to win it by himself? They have Sonic and Knuckles in the background, as they like to call him. St. Brown, Laporta, Jamison Williams. You have these guys that. It doesn't have to be on the shoulders of one guy like when Matt Stafford was here.
It doesn't. But the thing with Goff, Texans had a good defense. See, everybody that they've been beating are losers. They're not good. What I'm saying is, if you get to a Kansas City, they have a great defense, and Mahomes isn't even playing good yet. I'm just saying, in the biggest of games. Goff didn't look great against San Francisco, did he? He didn't. That's my point. I just don't, until they prove it, I don't think Jared Goff can win you a Super Bowl.
Well, that's Corey's thoughts.
So keep tailgating and having fun now, and what's going to happen? We got to start all over from scratch next year.
Yep. We have some comments up here. Mr. My City gave up 6 points today. Defense is slacking. What do you think of that?
I didn't say the defense was slacking.
You didn't think the defense was slacking?
No, they look great. They look good. I didn't say that. I don't think I said it. I don't think they have a championship defense, but they didn't slack today. You played the Jaguars. Mac Jones was the quarterback, right?
Well, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I did it. And listen.
Maybe you said it subconsciously and you didn't realize it. I don't know.
Mac Jones was out there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mac Jones was out there. You are watching the Roar Live. The Roar trivia question that we're going to answer right now. Who threw the most interceptions by a Detroit Lion in a single season? Is it Jeff Comlow, Bobby Lane, John Kitna, or Joey Harrington? The answer.
If you didn't know the answer, who would you pick? Just look.
If I didn't know the answer, I probably would have said Joey Harrington.
Okay.
But of course, I'm the one that comes up with the trivia question, so I can't make a guess on here.
Right.
Believe it or not, and that's good. And this is going back to 1979, and it's kind of a trick question because it was tied.
Bobby Lane.
A and B. Jeff Comlow, 23 interceptions in 1979. Bobby Lane had 23 interceptions, I think it was 1951 or 53. So those two are your answers. So if you had A or B, you are winners.
I saw the Lane thing there, but Lane was the only time they won.
Can I just say this, Co? Stafford's not even in the top 5.
Hey, listen.
He's not. Bobby Lane is actually in the top 5. I didn't even know that he threw that much back in the day.
I didn't.
Did you know that?
No, he won. But didn't he
that.
win their only championship or something, or when
He
it didn't count?
I believe he was
Bobby
their quarterback
Lane,
in what 55.
Yeah.
I throw 23 interceptions and win an NFC or an NFL championship. That's not bad.
Well, Goff is on pace to catch that.
No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
So the question is to you.
What's the question?
Do you think the Lions will win the Super Bowl?
I do.
They're going to win the Super Bowl.
I think they will.
Okay.
Yeah. I unless they see, unless there's some injuries that they can't get over. I hope Anzalone's going to be okay. If it's just a arm injury, fractured. They were saying something. I read something about fractured, maybe a fractured arm. Those he could come back in the next couple of weeks with a cast.
Okay.
You know, unless something major happens, I mean, this team is running on all cylinders.
They are,
and you know,
they are.
I'm looking forward to a deep playoff run.
I think they will. I just don't think they win the big one. And I'm
going to be honest with you. In my opinion, I think it'll happen if the Lions can actually get home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what they're.
That's
going to help.
I can't see them losing.
That's going to help. That is definitely going to help them. But like when but you never know. And then they're so high right now. At some point, will somebody come in and just beat them? So the football is so crazy. But back to real quick to Brad Johnson.
Yeah,
stick tight. Don't leave.
Ben Johnson.
I'm sorry, Ben Johnson. Don't leave.
Well,
I got one.
I agree with you.
Eric Bieniemy. Yeah. Just stay there.
But when you think about it, though, because these coaches, these OCs leaving, DCs leaving, really, there's not any great coaches out there. But what? Andy Reid, Mike Tomlin,
and that's it. I can't name another one.
And I'm going to be honest.
No, not my guy, LaFleur. McVay.
You think LaFleur?
I think LaFleur's good. I think he's good.
To me, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the best coach out there right now, other than Dan Campbell, in doing what he's done with the players that he has, is Mike Tomlin.
No, Tomlin's the coach of the year, and then Campbell second. Absolutely, Tomlin's the best coach in football. I mean, Andy Reid and then Tomlin, yeah. But he's the MVP. He's the coach of the year this year. With that mess, with that coach of the year, hands down. The reason that Johnson should stay, also to add to that real quick, he's connected with golf.
Right.
Where you gonna go to connect with Daniel Jones? Carolina? Yeah. Vegas, Minshew, you gonna connect with him?
Right.
Just sit tight. Make all the money you can as an OC. Be the darling, and stick with what you got, a winning organization. Everybody gets so eager to just leave. This is a good situation that they have here. Just stick with it.
Well,
because you're not going to win this year anyway.
Right. 52-6 is the final score from Ford Field. The Lions pull it out. 645 total yards.
Wow.
449 in the air, 196 on the ground, 8.5 yards per play. This is a great victory. I know everybody out there that is a Detroit Lions fan are ecstatic. Ecstatic.
Yeah.
And we would like to say thank you for tuning in tonight to the Roar Live.
Who they got next week? The Colts?
The Colts.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, the Colts.
Another bye.
The Colts and then the Bears.
I like that game. Lions will beat the Bears, but I like it.
Thanksgiving Day, the Bears.
That's always a good thing. Yep.
Well, everybody, thank you for tuning into the Roar Live. We like to thank Eastfield Joey, our comments on the YouTube, Tony Blankenship calling in from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Viva Las Vegas.
Lions 52-6. We want to thank Jared and David in the back.
Always.
And, of course, our guy getting better from his back, Dave Scott, who puts this whole thing together.
Shout out to Dave.
We love you, everybody. We'll see you next week, right after the Detroit Lions versus the Indianapolis Colts. See you next time, right here on the Roar Live.